People have been asking me for this video, so I finally sat down and got it done. Hi my friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Casper the Boy Diviner, and today I wanted to talk about my top 5 tarot books for beginners. A while ago in 2019, I did my physical tarot book collection, and to be honest, the choices here I don't think are much different from the things I went through there because I covered all my books, including books I didn't like. So if you're interested in what books you shouldn't maybe get, if you are someone like me, you might want to check out the video up there. But today I wanted to talk about only books that I felt like were instrumental in my Tarot 101 journey. Before I got really fluent with the tarot language, these were the books that helped me get there. This wasn't the order that I got my books in, but this is the order I actually suggest you getting your books in if you're brand new to the tarot. The first book I wanted to talk about is The Easiest Way to Learn the Tarot Ever! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Okay, this is quite a cheesy title, but I think the art is really nice. It's a bit dusty because I haven't looked at it in a while. And more than half the book is useless because I don't use it. You can if you're new. Basically, you should. Honestly, you should. You should go through all of this and fill this all up, okay? But this were not that important to me. I don't feel like this was the crux of the book. I do wish that he kept this separate and call it like a workbook companion, so I don't have to get it. And it's so heavy to bring it around, but everything else at the beginning, from page 1 to page 99, it's really useful. I really enjoy this book because it covers a lot of what recommended decks there are, tarot journals because people use the journal to really learn how their cards. There's also the fastest way to get to know your cards and all the exercises that I found really interesting. If you're interested in some of these exercises, I have done some simplified versions with myself and I'll put it up there as well. You can check those out. You can do those exercises yourself. You're meant to do it yourself. But I wanted to make it more like communal and show you how I learn my cards on a quick basis. This is the first book I wanted to talk about. I feel like a lot of tarot beginners have this block. They feel like they have to read for someone for it to count. There needs to be a real person that gives them feedback. I feel like you're skipping a step here. Understand your tarot deck first. Understand how you want to talk to your deck or how your deck wants to talk to you. Understand how the divine wants to express itself through the cards before you go read for someone else. That's how I feel, you know. You don't skip that step. If you're skipping that step, you're kind of wasting the other person's time. And who knows, maybe you really are so gifted that you can just read immediately for people. There are people like that. I just feel like for myself, someone who is neurotic, a bit more careful, I rather just do readings myself for no one in particular and try to understand the messages that, you know, the deck wants to express to me. And this book really helps you have a foundation in that. The next book I wanted to talk about that also covers a lot of things is the Holistic Tarot. I have not gone through this book in its entirety. Honestly, I don't think anyone really can. It is more a reference book and it covers a lot of basic stuff that you might want to know and ask about the tarot. Like, for example, how does the tarot work? She gives a lot of theories about how. She talks about choosing your deck. She talks about rote learning, which is the memorization method, which I think it's fine because I also memorized some keywords when I started. Not everyone gets along with that method, but I do feel like to some extent, it is important because it helps you, honestly. People demonize memorizing. I don't know, a lot of tarot courses I've seen were like, you don't have to memorize, you can learn. I don't agree with that. I feel like memorization has its place in learning the tarot. Okay, she covers about how to use the signifier cards. She talks about spreads. She talks about circumstance. She gives you a step-by-step breakdown of a tarot reading. I feel like all this is really important. All this is really interesting. She talks about ethical considerations, professional practices which I should be reading but I have not yet. I really enjoy this book. I feel like this tome is a good reference for a beginner. Because as a beginner you might have a question. First thing you do is to go to this thick tome, go to the index at the back and look for it and see if it makes sense or if there is something that you wanted to look at that was here. Of course it comes with she calls this a cyclopedia. It's basically all the card meanings with a few of her own thoughts. Honestly, this is the part of the book that I don't really enjoy. I don't really enjoy books that are meaning by meaning. So that is the part of this book that I don't really enjoy. I enjoy everything else about this book. Let's talk about the third book, which is called The Creative Tarot by Jessa Crispin. She is the person who also created the Spolia Tarot, which I recently trimmed. Oh my god. We'll talk about that in my recap. I don't know whether this video will come before or after the recap. But in any case, Jessa Crispin has such a good writing voice. She is so funny. She is so knowledgeable. I don't enjoy books like 78 Degrees of Tarot and the Encyclopedia of Holistic Tarot. I feel like a lot of it feels very freeform. Jessica Crispin does it in such a way, in a freeform way, but she ties it to existing art, existing TV series, to existing things that you might have seen on the media. So that really helps you click that card to the archetype that is still happening out there. And that's why I really enjoy the Creative Tarot. She is also such a funny person, so her book was a joy to read for me. I feel like out of all the meaning by meaning books that I have, that one is the best. So if you really feel like you need a meaning by meaning book, that would be the one I recommend. Yeah, it's a joy to read. Even the Spolia Tarot's Little White Book is amazing. I don't have a physical copy of that. I have it, I think I borrowed it from an e-library, so I had it for a while on my iPad and I finished it almost one go, maybe between 2 days. Yeah, that is the third book I would recommend for beginners if you really need a meaning by meaning book. The fourth book I wanted to talk about is by one of my favorite people in the tarot sphere, and this is T. Susan Chang. I really love T. Susan Chang. This book is amazing. People might say this is for experts. I disagree. It appears to be meant for experts because the beginning part of this book is so dense and so tough. Honestly, the first part were just correspondences, like by planetary signs, by astrology, by decans, you know, the mythical correspondences, what was the Tree of Life correspondences with the Kabbalah. All of that was so dense. Then the book really opened up for me in the second part, where it told you how to use these correspondences in your readings. For a baby tarot reader, which I will kind of cover when I finally get to my Tarot 101 course, is to read via imagery. When you read via imagery, this book, Easiest Way to Learn Tarot Ever, really forces you to do this if you spend time on the exercises here. Holistic Tarot tells you about the extra stuff as a baby tarot reader, what you need to know, like what you need to ruminate about. Then of course there are the books that are meaning by meaning. You have to find the one that resonates most with you. And then the next layer here is the tarot correspondences, where each tarot card actually has a hidden symbol or thread to something existing in the esoteric world, and then you can see that thread underneath the tarot reading that you do, you know? And that common thread can be something really important. I feel like this book has taught me more about how to maybe predict timing in the tarot more. So this would be Tarot 101, but maybe 101.5, okay? So I still recommend this book. You might not get it immediately, like you might not even understand it immediately, but reading the second part, there are simple things that you can actually add to your reading as a beginner. So I really recommend this book. I learned so much from this book, and also of course T. Susan Chang's tarot course, which I'm still not done with yet. For the last book I wanted to recommend to beginners is something for people who are not into the RWS. Dusty's book, The Easiest Way to Learn Tarot Ever, is kind of RWS based, but you probably can use it for the Thoth because it's about practice. Tarot Correspondences is also kind of RWS based, but it also has all the correspondences of the Thoth. She does talk about the Thoth numbering versus the RWS numbering, and then she mentions this book, Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot. This book is also amazing. It does have a meaning by meaning part, which I have not finished because again, I don't like that sort of thing. But this book really explains the structure of the Thoth Tarot and really tells you how elegant it looks and how elegant the whole system is. If you really know astrology, this should be a walk in the park for you. And if you're not, this book really adds some knowledge to your astrology, because reading this, I understood astrology a bit more. And I really appreciate some of the cards in the Thoth and even cards in the RWS, because my understanding is that every tarot deck has its commonalities. It's like after reading this book, my view of the Page of Pentacles or the Princess of Pentacles has grown so much. And this book has the Princess of Pentacles as its cover for a reason, you know? She is us. Yeah, so these are the 5 books that I really would recommend a beginner go through in that order. Unless you really are into the Thoth Tarot, then this book might be the first one you get. I still want to read Aleister Crowley's companion book to the Thoth to really see if that adds to my understanding more than this book. But for now, this is the only Thoth book I've read, and I would recommend this for Thoth people. Apart from that, I would recommend everything in that order that I mentioned. Easiest Way to Learn Tarot, Holistic Tarot for the extra parts, Creative Tarot for people who want to know card by card meanings. You can buy that before the Holistic Tarot. It really depends on what you really need at a point in time. Then the Tarot Correspondences as a 101.5 for people. And then finally, if you are branching out from the RWS, understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot by Lon Malu Duquette. I would strongly recommend you get hard copy versions of the Holistic Tarot and the Tarot Correspondences. I don't know if the easiest way to learn Tarot ever has an ebook, I don't think so. But don't get the ebooks for Holistic Tarot or the Tarot Correspondences because they have a lot of tables, they have a lot of information. It makes more sense to flip through than to actually read it in your Kindle, which is like so tiny. Okay, I really hope this was useful. If you have any other books that you felt were good for 101 people, please comment down below. I'll really be happy to talk to you and find out what your thoughts are. I have a feeling people might recommend books that I didn't enjoy at all, but let's see what happens, okay? If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and you guys have a great rest of the day. You take care. Bye!